Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Live Show. What's good, everybody? I am in a flux today trying to get everything together here. Got a lot to do. Also got Thursday Night Football up, but we're going to bring our bets here for the NBA. If you want to bring something for the NFL, I'm not going to tell you not to, honestly. I have a couple looks for the NFL tonight for anybody interested. But we're going to get it going for the whole show here. I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be a little bit more in depth. I might be taking a little bit more time on a few bets. So if y'all are good with that, good, because I haven't had the time to do my research since these lines started coming out late. We started getting injury reports and all that. So I'm going to pull up my screen in a minute. I'm going to show you guys the tools that I'm using. And like I said, you're going to get a pretty in-depth look, hopefully, at what I'm doing today, a little bit more than normal, because I haven't done enough already to kind of come in prepared with some looks that I already have for you guys. So we're going to look at it together. I got some leans. I got the ETR projections now, which I'm going to be using as well. So I'll be pulling all that up and probably even showing some of my notes here. I'm not going to use ETR all the time, and it's not gospel, but I at least want to have it up because I'm going to be looking at it, and I'm going to be comparing some stuff for projections and whatnot for what we got. So that'll be helpful for y'all to see the projection tools that I'm using. But I appreciate you guys jumping in the comments and getting your bets in. What's up, C-Biz? Let me know who you liking today too, bro. I'm kind of looking at Anthony Simons right now. I think we're going to start with him possibly. We got Jokic over, or not Jokic, Vucevic, excuse me, over 17.5. Rudy DD. So we'll take a look at that. Hostile Wasp scared Kobe White's going to burn you again. Yeah, that was a tough break last night. He only had 8 points in that one. Levine was out. I believe Levine is playing in this one. So let me start throwing some of the names that you guys have. We got Vooch looks and Rudy. Grady Dick failed us yesterday. We're gonna go without a Dick segment today, thank God, because he's not playing, so we don't have to be forcing Dick jokes all show. But we'll be ending on it the next time the Raptors play. I'll tell you that. We got Rudy DD. We got Vooch on the points. Vooch is shooting out the freaking lights out of the ball. It's insane. Anthony Simons, yeah, and then Jay Randall. I see that too. That was a look from Garrett. And Shadow Stefan was the one bringing this. We got Ant under 5.5 assists. Whoa, going up against Jose. You know they're going up against the Bulls, who give up like the most assists in the league, right? Or maybe they're third most, but most of the point guards. And yeah, but maybe you like the under assist for him and you like the over assist for somebody like Conley. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think about that. Let's put Ant assists in here and take a look at those. He has not been diming up. So 5 is a lot for what he's been doing, to your point. I got to put Simons in here. Tumani from TR Reptiles. What's good, bro? We got Free Sauce in here with the looks always, and Richard Lockhart, and the real DeBow. Love that name too. Champagny, 5 Rebs. So I'll put Champagny in there. Naz. Yeah, we got to look at Naz too, right? So let me keep putting these names up. We got Naz. We got Champagny. We got, there was one more look in there that I was going to put up. You got AE for over, Richard. Points and over 3 plus 3s. That's plus 110. So over the points, forget what that one's at, but let me know. Levine is out, that we think. Okay, I still saw him as questionable, but let me know. I forgot to put my boy Tumani in there. My mom is Belgian. Tumani is Belgian. So we might be putting a bet on him for old, but also because it's a good matchup against the Spurs. The Spurs give up a lot to small forwards and players in his position. Avdia might be cutting into his stuff too. So we should at least look at that and see what that's about. Let me start sharing my screen as you guys keep jumping in. Like I said, might be a little bit more in depth today. So hopefully y'all are in for the ride, because I got to find some plays. Wemby over, eh? All right, we'll look at that. But I will say, Alan, that the Blazers give up the fewest points per game to centers. Wemby defies a lot of things, including like height norms and everything else, body type norms, any kind of norms. But like, yeah, they're good against centers so far. We'll see if that has anything to do with dominating. I'm not using that as ironically as I normally do when I say dominating. I might need to give him a bit more respect. Let's look at Wemby either way. I kind of think the assist might be a look. At the same time, if you're looking at centers against the Blazers, and you see a lot of assists coming up for centers, they played Nurkic, Sabonis, Jokic. They played all these passing centers so far this year. So it's a big reason for why they've given up so many assists to the position. But we're going to take a look at it, Alan, for sure. We got Augustino in here. What's good, bro? Chris Paul points. Always a look, right, Jose? Like, goddamn. Chris Paul is shooting the thing too, especially from 3. He went 3 for 7 from the field. All 7 shots from deep, made 3 of them. That's 40%. My count, 42%, whatever. So let's look at CP3 points on the point god. And let me start bringing up my stuff here. You'll probably see me pulling up the the little baby model as well until we can make that full-grown man model and not a baby model. It's still going to be called that. So I'm going to be looking at propsmadness.com. I'm going to be pulling up outlier.bet, and those are the two main ones I'll be using as my home base. And then we'll get in some looks on NBA advanced stats and all the other tools, COURTSIDE, PAL, what have you. So we'll be using it all. All the links to the tools that I'm using are in the description of the video. So if you want to be able to use those for yourself, go ahead and get in there. Let me just update this real quick. We'll start, like I said, with some props madness and then get it going. Let me see how I make this. Let's see if I do it like that. Yeah, there we go. All right, I like that so much better. All right, great. All right, let's get it going. Let me look at a couple players we got here so far. Let's look at Giddy 2 from Joe Johnson. What's up, Joe Johnson? Wonder if you're still hooping. Let's get let's put him up here, though. We'll put Josh Gidey up here against this Minnesota squad. It's gonna be interesting. I'm still sort of like getting a feel for this Bulls team. This Bulls team is still getting a feel for this Bulls team. So, but they are playing fast and they do give up a lot on defense because they suck there. But let's go ahead and get right into that. Start with that Chicago game, and we can start with Rudy as a look. I initially did think highly of Naz in this game, mostly because it's not a great matchup for Rudy against Vooch. We can see what he did against Vooch last season, but this team is playing way faster too. So in these games, he had 19, and let's look at the PR so we can get both of them. So yeah, going over on the PR, 19, and so he had 10 boards, 19 points, 12 points, and 16 boards. So going over on the double-double twice here, not really missing anybody that would have – he missed Cat in one game, and then in the other he had everybody in February. So pretty good history. I'm just going to look at his history versus Vooch because this is part of my theory is that like he's going to do less against Vooch, who stands on the 3-point line, and Vooch has been standing out there even more this year than normal. So let's look at Rudy Gobert versus Vucevic last 4 games that they played each other. 4 games that they played each other. We had one on Utah. We can kind of dismiss that, but double-double in the last 3 since he's been in Minnesota against Vooch, getting a ton of boards for sure. But look at these minutes too, like 38, 34, or 44. That was obviously probably an overtime game. And then 33. And that was last year. So, I mean, yeah, the minutes are high this year for our boy. Let me pull it up on outlier.bet. I'm going to pull up Rudy because this is going to show me averages as opposed to just the game-by-game stuff for him. So I'm pulling him up just to see his minutes a little bit more too. Let's see what he's been playing. Minutes 32.7 this season. So for the most part, he's playing more than 30 minutes other than the last 2 games where they lost by 10 against Wemby and company, and then lost by, was that 21? Or no, they beat the Hornets by 21, but blowouts is the point. So for Rudy, the minutes 32.7, I think it's fair to say he's still going to play a lot against Vooch. He played a lot against him last season. I think that's a fair look. What's he done this year with the double-double? Another great aspect of Outlier, you can go ahead and see things like double-double, alt lines, all these things that are not necessarily available on most of these really solid research sites. But 3 of 7, he's gotten the DD so far this year. 18 rebound chances a game. What's his rebounds prop at? And what's the double-double number? I'll look at that in a sec. So the rebounds are probably, 10 or 11 and a half against against this squad. Let's look at what they are against. Let's put PRA up here for a minute. PRA, so I can also just see what the rankings are for this Bulls team right here. So if I look at versus centers, not too bad. Middle of the pack in PR, giving up no assists. Not that I expected Rudy to get that. But that doesn't necessarily matter, even especially early in the season. We still don't have enough data right here to just go, okay, against positions, this is what they do. So I'm not worried about that. It's mostly about the pace that this Chicago team plays with that scares me a bit. Let's look at just some of the matchup stuff for the points, because you always got to worry about the points with Rudy. Pulling that up, 24-25 points for Rudy. So he's gone 10 plus in 4 of these 7 games. You always got to worry about the points with Rudy more than anything. I know that the 12.5 is there for a reason. They don't give up that many points to center so far. I have to look at who they played. It's not necessarily Rudy's matchup for the points, to be honest. I might take the PR at this point, but obviously this season he's at 20.4, even in the 32.7 minutes. So there could be something to that he is getting a few less looks at rebounds and points because of Julius Randle being in there. And him just having a different effect. And Cat wasn't playing as much last season. So yeah, I mean, Rudy, it's good for the 10 plus boards. Maybe you take like 10 plus points, 10 plus boards, and parlay him and you get better juice. Because what was the double number for him? If this isn't even a good number, I'm probably just going to move past it anyway. Yeah, minus 130. Nah, I'm not willing to take that for minus 130, mostly because of the points with homie, to be honest with you. If you wanted to put like 10 plus boards for Rudy in a parlay of some kind, I can understand that. But 10 plus boards, that seems to be his floor against them, but that was in 38 minutes. He's seeing 32.7 minutes have been a little bit wonky for him. I'm gonna pass on Rudy for right now. Let's keep it moving so I can see if there's anything else we're looking at. Let's look at Vooch since we're in this game. And then we got a lot of the Chicago game in here. So we have 3 games to play with, so it doesn't matter. All right, keep it moving. I got a bunch more people in here. Appreciate y'all. What's up, Youngin? We got Simons in there, so we'll definitely keep a look on the rebounds. Augustino likes Ant to go over his 19.5, minus 500. If you want to drink that juice or put it in a parlay, that's cool. Pat Williams, 3.5 boards. Man, yeah, we can look at Pat Williams. A little bit soft. I don't think I put him in here yet. I'll make sure I have him on the upcoming right now. We'll put Pat Williams in here. Man, Pat Williams with his, $20 million contract that I don't like. You want that man on your team for 4 years, whatever. Maybe it's just a part of the rebuild. And they're like, well, we know he's not a part of the future. So we're going to just sign him for 4 years, have a vet in the locker room. Maybe they think he's still something. I don't really know. Naz assists. We'll look at Naz here in a sec. Levine is hurt. We got Kamara still. And appreciate Richard's throwing out there. Let's get the like button. But Drewski was talking about Levine, and I'm not sure if that's official yet. I think I got my Twitter up, so we can just go to the noties real quick. Got all the Friday dudes that are out. Everybody on Friday is out or questionable. And we still don't have an update, I don't believe, right, on Levine officially. So we'll keep an eye on it. If anybody does get that official notey that he's out, let me know so we can take a look at that. Let's get back to Props Madness and pull up Vooch. He is going to be pulling homie from the basket. He's gone over 18.5 in 5 of 8 games this season. Vooch, if we pull him up over here so we can take a look at his averages. And I want to know where he's shooting from. Also, I guess the other thing real quick about Rudy that I should have brought up real quick in terms of the matchup is I'm assuming that this Bulls team, I'm pretty confident that I remember this Bulls team does not defend down low very well at all. And they don't seem to defend the pick and roll man very well. They don't defend the pick and roll well at all. Opponent defense, they are dead last right next to the rim. So it would make sense that if they're looking for Rudy at all, that he's going to get the points. The problem is the field goal attempts. 8, 2, 8, 5, 10 against the Nuggies, 8 against the Spurs, 5. So we're looking at like a floor of 5, 4 or 5, and a ceiling of 8 for him. So 8 buckets. He's gotten to the free throw line 0 times, 4 times, 5 times, 4, 3, 2. Like, what's he at? Like 3 free throw attempts per game. So the points for Rudy, I don't like taking dudes that don't get to the free throw line, that need to hit, that only hit 2s, right? We're just going to go to points, actually. My bad. We'll go to the bottom here. I want to look for 2024. What are his free throws at? 3.3, 3 free throws. So 2 points off free throws, 4 makes. That's 10 points right there, right? He's at 10. He's at 10 for the season? 10.43 for the season. I understand this team is bad and that they give up a lot down low, but I also know that they don't look for Rudy on offense as though he's any kind of, primary scorer or priority in the offense. So I don't like taking Rudy points. Taking a double-double for Rudy would be better if this points prop was at 9.5, 10.5, and the double-double is even money or plus 105, even in that range. Then I'm looking good for a Rudy double-double. But you can see that the double-double here is minus 130, so it's a pass for me on that. Just want to make that final point. I recognize that this is a good matchup in the sense that they don't defend the pick-and-roll man, and they don't defend the paint right inside the paint, rather, the rim, essentially. They don't protect that very well at all. But that doesn't matter for Rudy, who's not involved in the offense. I need usage. I need to know that a guy's going to get shots up because I'm not going to take him on 8 shots. He's making 4 buckets a game with 2 free throws made. I don't want to go over that. That's his averages. So you could look at a kind of a beastie bitchy kind of parlay for him where maybe you go under on the points and you go over on the boards for Rudy, something to that effect. That could be nice. Maybe you take an alt under for Rudy combined with the boards. I think the boards are fine for him. I also don't think he's meant for this type of game quite as much with a fast-paced team. So looking at Vooch, he's at 20.8, got an 18.5 point prop. Most likely this team does not give up a ton to centers. Let's look at it on Outlier. Pick up Vooch right now. Vucevic. And his points. I think someone was asking about maybe 17.5. That is juice to the gills. Minus 145 on DK, minus 154 on FanDuel for over 17.5 for Vooch. So don't love that number. So if you get it to 18.5, then you're at minus 104. Interestingly, this is saying it's EV to take under 18.5. You can see that little EV sign. That's another pretty awesome aspect of this, is that they're going to show you if you take this bet over time at minus 105, you're going to make money based on Vooch's career numbers, based on the way that this is priced. Essentially, you're going to make money over time because of the law of averages telling you that. So under 18.5, but whatever, make it over 18.5 right now. Minus 104. So you can get a good number on both sides here. That's pretty nice. Minus 104 to the over, minus 105 to the under. Not as much vig if you play between different books, so that's cool. 8 field goals that he's making per game gets him to 16. One of them, or almost 2 of them, let's say, are threes. Now, this is something I've been talking about with Vooch. He spurned me last time, right? Because we took him to go under in, which game was it? I think it was, now I can't remember. Oh, it was against Claxton. It was for him to go under, and he made 3 of 4 threes in that game. And part of my logic was he's not going to keep shooting 46% from 3. I was right. He didn't shoot 46% from 3. He shot 75% from 3 in that game. So whatever. Also hard to tell when Brooklyn's going to actually play Nick Claxton. So got to keep that in mind, that you can't bank on him being in there very often to place your bets and make your sort of your angles that you're playing. But here, yeah, then he goes down to 2 against Dallas. That was a blowout. He probably didn't play very many minutes in that game. 25 minutes in that game. So, but he's at 33. You should expect him to play that. He's at 18.5. This team against centers, I meant to look at that real quick, versus center points, they're actually giving up the 4th most center points on the season. I'm sure they played Jokic at least once. I know they did. So who were the rest of them? Let's look real quick for Vooch. We can look at this on Props Madness. You can look at other players that are similar to Vooch that have gone up against this team recently and see how they've done. So one of the players is Jokic, obviously. And then let me just pull up the Timberwolves. I'll do it over here. My bad. Let me pull up the Timberwolves game log this season. I just want to remind myself of which centers they've played, because it's still early. So for me to just go, oh, they've given up the 4th most points to centers, is like, well, which centers are we talking? Well, this team doesn't have a center. This team has a very good center in Wemby. What did he do against them? Forgot already. Wemby against this squad only had 17 points. Let's go back. Back to the track. Then they played Jokic, Gafford, Pirtle, Domas, and AD, right? So those were the guys scoring on them. What did AD have in here? Like 35 or something stupid. AD went for 36 in this one. Then you had Jokic for 26. So it makes sense that they give up points to centers. I would say Vooch is a good scoring center, so we have to keep that into consideration. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that gives me an edge here. Let's take a quick look at ETR and just compare what they've got here. If you're not familiar with this, this is behind a pretty hefty paywall. I don't know that they'd be thrilled with me showing you this, because since I paid them money to get it, and they don't want however many hundreds of people are in here right now getting this information for free, but right now it's happening. If we look at Vooch, they have him at 20, 9.6 on the boards, almost 2 threes. I mean, he's getting good looks from 3, so it's hard to take that away from him. The 32.5 minutes is a right on projection. 20 points seems fair. This is definitely convincing me. The points against thing is really interesting that they've given up so many points to centers. Even I would say only 3 of those dudes were like legit centers that I just pointed out, right? I mean, Wemby, Jokic, and then AD and Domas. So yeah, that's fair, but still, I think that's ridiculous. It's noticeable that they are that high. I'm trying to think of another way to get some Vooch stuff here. Let's at least look at his play type stuff. I mean, this is a very good defense, so this is always going to be a tough matchup. And Vooch is getting prioritized on the shot attempts. I'm just take one more look at that to do some simple hood math here. Looking at the shot attempts up top above the break is where he's taken a lot of them, right? Sorry, I'm looking at the map again for him. His map says 29% from up top and 39% from here. He is hitting the little baby hook right here in the extended paint 22% of the time. He is the roll man in that pick and roll. So, they're pretty good at defending that because they play the drop defense. So not going to be as much around the basket. He's kind of going to have to hit threes, to be honest, which leads me to go, what's his threes prop at? 1.5, averaging 2. I bet centers are doing all right against that drop defense. Let me go to fantasy. I probably see it up here too. Let me see if they've got it. If I pull up Vooch threes up here, 3-point makes. Yeah, so they are allowing 2 centers, the 7th most threes per game because of the fact that they play that drop defense. You can get plus 118 on Underdog. You can get even money on FanDuel. For his career, I just want to make sure that we're keeping in mind a much better sample size than just this season. Nikola Vucevic career stats. Just to bring it up, I know it's not everything, but 3-point makes for his career. This is a dude who's averaged, in the last few seasons right here. Let's do since 18 career stats since 2018. Vooch career stats since he started shooting threes, essentially, right? So here we have him finally taking about 3.6. This year he's taken 4.3, 4.4, making 2 of them. He is not a 45.7 career 3-point shooter, but he has hit 40% from 3 in one season, or at least the 21 games he played with Chicago right away. So this was the 21 games with Chicago, I guess it was probably this is the whole season, excuse me. This is all of this season in 21. He did hit 40% of his threes. So, look, right now he's hitting 45%. That's got to come down. It might still be worth it for the threes against this drop defense. That might be where I'm looking. So I'm going to put that on the bottom line. As I said, this is going to be a little bit more in depth, y'all. So might be taking a little bit more time on some guys, but I'm trying to not make sure I don't miss anything since I haven't had the time to even preliminarily look at stuff since I did a little bit, but not enough. Let me put up this on the bottom line. I got all the leans scrolling on the bottom line. We're putting Vooch. I like him for the threes, over 1.53 p.m. for even money or better. I'm not taking any minus money on that, but an even money bet on that against a team that gives up a lot of threes to centers because they play drop D, which means they're not out there to hedge on the shooter when he goes out. So, all right, let's see real quick. I'm gonna see what I'm missing in the comments. I'm gonna look at Naz and then Pat Williams. Yeah, we have it in that order, so that's good. I'll put Keontae in here. We got a couple more people jumping in. Appreciate you guys jumping in with your bets, and we'll go over it. Let me look at Keontae. Wait, the Jazz played tonight. Who the Jazz played tonight? Why can't I even remember? Bruh. Yeah, Bucks, right? Because nobody was healthy for these teams, so I don't know who's playing. All right, but we'll put Keontae in there. And we'll look at we'll put PRA in there for him for right now. But yeah, if you want to keep looking at a couple things, let me know. I'm going to get into Naz Reid right now. I do think Naz is a good matchup here. Jose seems to agree he's getting some more minutes, and Joe Johnson agrees they don't pass the ball to Rudy, so it's tough to take his points. Free Sauce likes the RA for Vooch. That's interesting. I mean, assists against for centers against this team, I imagine, are pretty good. Let me just pull that up real quick. PRA, so I can just get it all. Points, rebounds, and assists. Against centers, they give up the 9th most assists. So that's interesting. The boards are tough. They've got his rebound prop at right here, 9.5. And that's what the projection is for him in about 32.5 minutes, which makes sense. 2024, he's averaging 10.7. Against this team, I don't think I want to include the rebounds, to be honest with you. Maybe he has a decent history against Gobert with the rebounds and assists, not sure. But the assists I might take with the points instead of the rebounds, to be honest. If we look at head-to-head, last season went over in one game, and the end of the season probably didn't matter very much to Minnesota on the 31st, but maybe. No, they're still trying to get a 1 seed, and they lost to this team twice. That's really interesting. Lost to this team twice. I'm not interested in the rebounds for Vooch, but I can understand the assists, adding that to points for him. I think that might be a good look and a good way to play it as well. This season, he's got a slightly better hit rate with the points and assists combined. Even if you're looking at this on an expensive book, they took him down on FanDuel, so that's interesting. Did Levine just get announced? Did that happen? If they're moving lines for the Bulls in any way, no, they still didn't give me that. All right, no worries. We'll look at Naz real quick. So is there anything to help us with Naz and what he might be doing? So if Naz is coming off the bench, then he's not even going to be dealing quite as much with Vooch, I imagine, unless they do bring him in for starter minutes. In the back line, he's going to get Jalen Smith, who was questionable. I think he was actually cleared to play for Jalen Smith, who, God, this goofiest looking dude ever. But they got him in as the backup. So it would be interesting to know how backup centers are doing in general against this team. That's a pretty good matchup for him. I mean, Jalen's a pretty good defender. I won't lie, actually. It's not like a great matchup because he's pretty versatile to go up against Naz. But 12.5 for Naz, it's not even really minutes, is it? Is he getting the shots up? Let's pull him up over here so I can see his averages a little bit more clearly on Outlier. Pulling up Naz, get rid of Vooch. Naz Reid. All right. Pulling him up. Points we at, and I think there was a request for a look at other stuff too, like rebounds and assists. Let's just pull up points for a minute. So for the points, field goal attempts per game, 9.1. He is making 5 of them. That's a decent percentage. And then 49% from 3. That's an outlier. That's not going to necessarily last. He's at how many a game? 15.29. This is at 12.5. For him, the median's still at 14. It's a pretty good bet just as is, to be honest, in the 25 minutes. I'm seeing what they have him projected for minutes-wise on ETR. This is what I use ETR more than anything for, is the minutes. I want to know what they're projecting guys' minutes at. They do have Naz 25. They have him at more than no, they don't. I'm sorry. Rudy's at 33. So yeah, they got Rudy at 33. They love him for the points too. I mean, this is actually slightly above his season average. So that's interesting. They do like Rudy in this game. We'll consider that. If he's at 33 minutes, we'll consider that. I mean, Naz at 25 minutes, that's what he's averaging. 12.8 points is what they have him at, despite the fact that he's averaging 15. So that's interesting. I wish I knew. I could read a few of the blogs to see why they think that. But for Naz at 15.3, I mean, in the 25 minutes that he's playing, if he's projected for 25 against a team that doesn't defend, where he's shooting from above the break, 12th limiting threes above the break. He is coming off screens and the pick and roll. Like, he does a lot of stuff that they don't defend well. I think Naz points is a look at 12.5, honestly, just with the straight math of it. I don't have anything in the way of his play type out there. We know what he's going to be doing. He's going to be catching threes and he's going to be driving to the rim a decent amount as well. So yeah, with a decent, I mean, Jalen Smith, decent matchup, but at 25 minutes, I'm at least going to put him in a lean on the bottom line right now, because the just straight math, like, I don't know why things would go. I guess it's the 3-point shooting. That's what would go down. So he's at 15 a game and he's making 50% of his threes, and that's too many. So if he makes one fewer 3, then he's at 12.5 points, which makes a lot more sense that they don't think he's going to hit that other 3. So he's averaging 4.7 attempts, making 2.3 a game. That's 49%. So if he were making, let's say he's making 1 point. What did he shoot last year? Let's just take that for a second. So last year he made 2 of 4.9. So he's still shooting 41%. So even if he's shooting 41% here, is making probably one slightly less, one fewer 3 per game. That's still really good to be making the 2 last year. So yeah, I mean, I'm still going to put him on the bottom line as a lean to the over, because if it's about 3-point shooting, fine. But I think that he's still capable of shooting at that 40% clip with how open he's getting. So we'll take Naz over 12.5 right now. That's minus 108. I think that's going to be a decent number. I can tell you right now that the baby model is going to tell us to play it. I'll just give you this as an example for anybody who is unfamiliar with it. I don't want that. My bad. I want this. Get my NBA tool up here real quick. All right. So I'm going to bring this up over here. I'm just going to put Naz's stuff in and show you that this is probably going to tell us to take it. So what I'm putting in here, this is also the link to this is in the free part of the Discord if you want it. It's under betting tools, and it's also got some directions there to show you how to do it. It's got some formulas in it, so it takes sweet mother loving time to upload all the way for whatever reason. But there we go. All right, so we got Naz in here. Points. Come on with it now. There we go. Points 12.5. The under odds. This is being real slow. The under odds are minus 112, and minus 108. So the under is minus 112. This is minus 108. His minutes average are, come on, dog. Minus 108. His minutes average are about 25. Might be a little bit more. Want to make sure I get it right. His minutes are at 24 for this, or this last season, 2024. His minutes are at 25.1. It's not taking into consideration that he's shooting a little bit better than he normally shoots. I would say a lot better. 49% is a lot better. But he's at 15.4 points per game. His projected minutes are like 25.2. The probability to the over at minus 10, or I'm sorry, to the under at minus 112. I need to bring up my thing, but I'm guessing this is just like the NBA, the Action tool, network tool. If you're, oh no, this isn't. This is showing me all the spreads. This is the tool, betting odds calculator. So I can put in minus 112 is 53%, minus 108 is 52%. All right, so the under is 53% implied probability. The over is a 52% implied probability. So there's a 24% to the edge to the over. This is just in a vacuum, just looking at these numbers in general. What's he done this season? What are his projected minutes? And what are the implied probability to the over and under? And that'll show you the edge in terms of what you want to play here. So I don't play anything that's not at least 10%. And I want this at as close to 20 as I can before I really, really strongly, it pushes me over the top to make a bet. 24% is a great number. At the very least, I just got to put it down. But Naz's shooting has to come back down to earth at some point. So those are the other types of things that I'm keeping into consideration. All right, taking Naz off here. Let's look at Ant assists. And we can look at Ant in general against this team. It's scary to take an under on the assist. That was the look for Ant, was an under on his 4.5 dimes. But that is going to be a little bit scary. So let's see real quick. All right. Yeah, appreciate it, Isaiah. Yeah, we got a nice Discord in there. We got a lot of people bringing some good looks. We got some guest cappers in there. We got like Street Cred throwing picks out. My man's in every channel. You're an absolute maniac, Street Cred. Not to mention apparently growing some fire that he has. Dame time could be. Everybody scores against the Jazz. How do you want to get it? That you can get it however you want it. How do you want it? All right, let's move past Naz into Ant stuff. Let's see here. The Jazz defense is Tupac. How do you want it? All right. No, I didn't mean to go back. My bad. We're looking at his dimes. And yeah, he has not been getting the potentials this year, right? If we look at his, he's gone under 4.5 in every game. So it's a good starting point for this look. 37 minutes, obviously tough. 7 potentials, though. So it's hard to get 5 assists on just 7 potentials per game. That is the median here is 3 for his assists as well. Let me just see if he's had like any kind of spike games with the potential. Actually, I can do that right here. What am I talking about? On the potentials, I can look at it right here. Potentials, yeah, 11, 8, 8, 6, 7. So 7 is the average for a reason. Now, thing to consider here is that if you're playing against the Chicago Bulls, they give up the most dimes, right, to everybody. So they give up the 3rd most on the season, the most to point guards. Technically, they don't give them up to shooting guards, probably because they let them get what they want. So that's a pretty good angle right there for the Ant under. Let me go over here. Let me look at where he's shooting from. 55% PNR ball handler. He's driving to the hoop a lot. Here's an interesting idea. Let me look at this real quick. So Ant is scoring a lot as a pick and roll ball handler. He's shooting 55% of his shots from here, which means he's only shooting 36% inside the arc. So 31% of his shots, or excuse me, 36% of his shots are twos. That means that 64% of his shots are from deep, which has been a conversation about Ant this season, is the threes, right? What's his prop at? 3.5, because look at these threes. Boy's going crazy. 7 threes, 6, 14, 12 threes, right? Like 7. He's averaging a ton of 3-point attempts per game. I just want to see how many it is exactly this year. He's averaging 11.5 threes per game. That's got to be damn near the top of the league, right? This is like Steph Curry's usually shoots about 12. Let me pull up what I want to see for Ant is how much is he driving to the hoop and how much is he passing on those drives. So I got to go to NBA advanced stats page to get that stuff. But when I'm there, I can go to players. I can go to tracking. This is for drives to see how often he's driving to the hoop. I'm going to filter this to just say the Minnesota squad, MIN. And obviously, Ant is driving to the hoop the most. Oh, Julius Randle's driving to the hoop the most. But Ant is driving pretty frequently as well, 11 times per game. 4.7 field goal attempts. His assist percentage is bad off of that, 6.3. So that's helpful to go to the under. His pass percentage is only 33.8% on these drives. So unfortunately, I can't see how teams are doing on the drive. But I can tell you right now, if you have the weakest down low defense in the league, 30th in people who are trying to get layups or dunk the ball, and Ant is driving to the rim, already looking to shoot every time because he's only passing a third of the time that he drives to the rim. It's not as likely going to be looking to pass against this squad. Even if he is able to get a lot of dimes off, he's probably going to keep driving because this team sucks at limiting you around the rim because Vooch is not a rim protector. So I can understand the logic there, and I think it makes sense. At 7.3 potentials, and this is the one position, he's not playing point guard. This is the one position where if you're coming up and you're not, and you're the pick and roll ball handler, you can get points against this team. Point guards are assisting a lot. Shooting guards are not. What are they against spot ups? You see the points for him. How are they defending spot up shooters? Pretty well. So that does indicate that they're not giving up assists to spot up shooters. It is probably assists down low that they're getting dimed up on because they give up so many points down low. So it's a bit of a scary bet. What did he average last year in the assists column here? He averaged 6 last season. So, maybe the assists will be upped. I don't know why they would be down this year. I guess DiVincenzo being out there a little bit more alongside Conley gives you a more legit backup point guard. So he's not getting dimes on the second unit like he was last year, maybe because of the fact that DiVincenzo is coming out on the second unit. And when they play together, he's still a legit point guard. Last year, they didn't really even have a backup point guard. You had like Nickeil Alexander-Walker playing some point guard. So this all makes sense. I like this. I do like this. And it would make sense that he would get the points. What do they give up to in terms of points to the shooting guard? 9th most points to the shooting guard. Not as many to the point guard or the small forward. Power forward and shooting guard is where they really suck. Pat Williams, that's on you. I'm looking at you, bro. And then, I guess, Lonzo's still not playing, right? So this is a good look. I like it off bat. I'm going to put Ant on the bottom line here as a look and a lean as well. I'm going to add him on under assists for Ant, and that might even be a look for some points parlayed with that. We love that negative correlation where you get a bump in the juice, bump in the odds when you take a player to go under points over assists or vice versa. So Ant under 4.5 assists is a look for now. All right, keep it moving. Next up, we got. Now we want to bring up the Pat Williams stuff. Take a look at that. I know I'm going to have a little bit less for Pat Williams. I have not been following him as much. Let's see if there's something else that catches my eye first. You know what? Let me make sure I get through the stuff that I was looking at earlier to see if I'm down to make a bet and if I can find anything for that. No doubt, Jose, for sure. And the Randall addition's probably in there. And I'm thinking that I got to look at some of the tape, but I do think that if you're playing Ant on the second unit with Dante DiVincenzo, you've got a much more legit passer in DDV than anybody that was there last year. Once Mike Conley comes off, big reason they wanted DDV was because Mike Conley's getting old. I kind of think Mike Conley might be okay on the assists, maybe like a little like 10 points for Naz, four plus assists for Mike Conley kind of thing, because I think he's gonna be able to find guys when he's got the ball. It's the 4+ assists obviously is a part of that. Is the hit rate here is averaging 4, makes me feel a little bit better about it, but still not great juice. So let me look at what I was saying so I can make sure I get to what I want to see. Let me look at Anthony Simons. I'm gonna pull him up on Props Madness real quick. So Anthony Simons is someone that I'm still eyeing because he's going to be scoring above the break, and that's where this team gives up hella shit. And then I'm gonna look at Wemby actually after this too, because I might be going under on Victor Wembanyama. That's a consideration I have right now. So pick and roll ball handler. This team sucks up top. They are 28th in trying to limit the above the break 3. Not very good. They are 21st limiting the ball handler in the pick and roll. This man scoring 50% of his points as the pick and roll ball handler. We love all of that, right? He's scoring a lot off the pull-up as well. 7 points per game are coming off the pull-up for him. That's a good news against a team that does not guard the pick and roll very well. So those are the two things I'm looking at. I love the shot attempts for our guy. Let me pull him up over here and pull up Simons. Apply that. If I haven't mentioned it yet, too, if you want a free 7 days to Outlier, I know a lot of people have recently gotten it, and it's a dope-ass product. If you want a free 7 days, use the link that's in the description of the video. Gets you 7 free days. It's not like I'm even making commission off that. But if you do get the platform, then I make like a really small percentage of it. But it's more about like if you want 7 free days, it's a nice perk, so I can at least offer you that for now. And then you can go ahead and see if you'd like it to get it. But one of the bunch of perks on this one, one of the best things that I try to tell people about is you can set notifications for yourself on here to so that when the line moves, if you want to like if you want a public noti on the app, and I can't do it on desktop, but if you do it on the app, there's you can go ahead and set a notification for, and I actually might be able to do it over here. If you want to save something. So if I save, if I add something right now, right, where I'm like, add all these things like points for this team in this game and this player, whatever, then anytime Anthony Simons points moves one direction, I'm going to get a notification on the app. And that is massive. So I highly recommend using that aspect of this. If you do get outlier, make sure that you're saving you're saving your props that you want to keep a track of, and then they will show you the line movement and notify you if you want noties on the app. So really dope product for that reason in and of itself. It's really hard to find a product that will notify you when a line moves with any kind of expediency. Anthony Simons, 20.5 points. I call him a shooting guard. What do you call him? This is the other thing about these positions. Point guard, shooting guard. Like, what's Ant? A shooting guard? How often is Ant taking the ball up? So there's something to that. But I call Anthony Simons a shooting guard, even though on the starting lineup, it's a bit more him because I don't think Scoot's been starting. Let me pull up RotoWire real quick and see if they have Scoot in the SL today, for example. So lineups, NBA lineups. Looking at, yeah, so they're still starting him at the PG. Whatever. Avdia can handle the ball. Jeremy Grant can handle the ball, so they're fine. Tumani at the 2 is crazy. He's so tall, like a 6'7" long-armed wing. So that's big lineup right there. It should be a good lineup. There's a reason this team is not as bad as we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. Anthony Simons, though, that's what I got for him. I mean, the points, he's at 19.5. Plays some decent defense. This is a very good defense. I mean, the Dubs, we saw what they did to the Celtics. Very good defense. Kings, 11th in defensive rating. Clippers, top 10 defense. OKC is the best defense. Phoenix kind of sucks, but what's their defensive numbers at right now? Let me look at opponent defensive rating. The Pellies suck, but the Phoenix Suns are 8th. So they've played some really good teams, man. Really good. The OKC Thunder, obviously, Clippers, all these teams are top. So, yeah, we got top 10 defense. The only team that was bad at the time was the Pellies, and they played them 3 times, granted, but he went over all 3 times against that bad defense. And the Spurs, actually, they're not as bad, I will say, but they do give it up to his type of player. 11th in defensive rating. They were like 3rd for a bit. These are, take this a little bit grain of salt. But if you look at their defensive rate versus his shot zone, that's huge. So I like that for him. This is a small slate that I'm not going to have that many bets for. I'm leaning strongly into Anthony Simons 25 plus points right now as a way to get some action on something that's at least worth my time, to be honest. So I'm putting Simons in here for 25 plus points. Saving that. I still don't have a lot of data for either of these teams in their current forms to really like look back and go, how does he do in this situation or that? I will say last season he scored a bunch against this team. He had a 40-point game. This team was playing at like 104 pace. What were the Spurs? They had way worse defense than they do this year. So take that with a big, big grain of salt. But for Anthony Simons, I think 25 plus might be a play. So let me just look at what the alt is here. 24, and it's probably like plus 140. Okay, you can get 2-1. That is worth it. 2-1 for Anthony Simons to get 25 plus. I do. I'm leaving it in here right now as a strong lean for Simons. That's gonna be on the bottom lines, and that is plus 200, which is a good number that I might go away. But his points have not been moving. I don't believe it was 20.5, and the odds have stayed right around the same. Yeah, it opened at like 21.5. I guess they've been taking the under since last night at 22.5. This line movement right here, it's now at 20.5. We missed out on the 19.5. That got bet up real quick. It was 5 minutes later. At 129, it went down to 19. At 134, somebody was like, what? And they went to 20.5. This would be where the sharps come in with their alerts and are like, if this gets to 19.5, tell me now, because I'm going to take Anthony Simons over 19.5 as soon as it gets to that. They found an edge to that. So that's dope. I mean, if you take him 20 plus and put that in a thing, parlay, that makes sense too for Simons. But we got him on the bottom line. If there's something else in this, I want to look at Wemby first. I know I'm going out of order, but I know I'm not going to have as much for Patty Williams. I'll look at CP3 and we'll look at Wemby and CP3 now. Let's see. Yeah, that's fair. You guys do suck against point guards, Jose. Naz Reid on the 3s. Yeah, I think like players like we were talking about earlier. Naz, who is the other one I have on the bottom line right now, and Vooch. Both those players, it might be more worth it for the 3s in that game than anything else. We'll see whose pace kind of dominates. But, I think Wemby might be an under. So let's get into that. I think it actually might be somewhat legit that this Portland Trailblazers team has not allowed very much to opposing centers. The other thing about Wemby here is 23.5 points. In order to do that, he hit 2 threes, 4 threes, and 2 threes. So the threes aren't quite as like hyper important. 4 free throw attempts, 2, 3. Don't love that he's not getting to the free throw line, obviously. He's had 8 and 6 to start the year, and then he hasn't had more than 4 since the first 2 games of the season. So don't love that. The Jazz are not a real basketball team, so I'm taking everything that happens against them with a grain of salt. And the Clippers are good, but he shot 22 times in that game. He is getting some volume here, so he's fluctuating a lot in the points. And this offense has looked nasty without Pop, but he managed to go over here. So let's see the rebounds too. That's the thing is like even the rebounds. You got this 20 rebound game over here that brings him to 9.8 on the season. What if you take that out, right? The median number for him. Let's pull that up. The median number is always something I would be looking at because the median number takes the outlier performances that are not very likely to happen again, and it basically eradicates them, makes them not as impactful. So if you look at his average on the PRA, he's at 30 point. But let me look at the rebounds. We got on the boards. Man, I hate that they do it in this order, man. Come on, do like, I don't know, alphabetical something. What are we doing here? So yeah, so the rebounds are at 9.75 on the season, but the median rebounds are 8.5, which means 50% of the time he's gone over 8.5, 50% of the time he's gone under 8.5 rebounds. And this rebound prop is at 11.5 against a good rebounding center in DeAndre Ayton, right? Who is averaging 11.5 boards himself on the season and has a median that's probably at about 11.5, maybe even more, because this is the outlier here is this 5 rebound game. That's an outlier because they lost by 23 to the Thunder, who probably didn't miss very much against them. But eventually they came back to win. But he's still at about 30 plus minutes. The rebounds are at 10.5 for DA now because they think that Wemby is going to stop. Well, they probably are pretty good. Let's see real quick. So looking at centers versus versus Portland, they're 9th best limiting centers at rebounds. Let's look at the what it is for dominating and how the Spurs defend against those. Dominating on the boards. I am using this ironically when I say dominate now, I gotta be honest. Yeah, the median number is 12. See what I mean? So the outlier is actually the 5 game, which means that the median number is better than the average number, which I rely on a bit more. So for Ayton, just looking at his projections real quick, he's still at 31 minutes in this game, 16 points, 11 boards. I'm kind of loving him on the PR, to be honest, because if I can get that at 26, that's rebounds and assists, 25.5 at minus 115. I know he's averaging 25.9. The points have been a little bit more erratic, and maybe the points are what I don't like as much as the rebounds. But I like fading Wemby, and I kind of might just fade him on the PR. The assists, they do give up assists. I will say that to centers. Let's go back to Wemby real quick. And granted, once again, these numbers are a little bit skewed because he gives up. They give up assists to the Blazers in part because they played a bunch of really good passing centers so far this year, more than most teams like Jokic, Sabonis, Nurkic, Chet Holmgren. All these guys are good passers, and so they've given up the 8th most assists to centers. Have the Blazers. So there's something to that. The potentials for Wemby. If we look at those, he's only at 7. So to get 4, not that bad. I think you add the assist though. It's a 40 and is it 40.5 for the PRA? Oh wow, it's down to 38.5. This was 40 earlier. Yeah, there's still some 39.5s hanging around. So this got bet down. Wonder if I moved that with the video earlier today. I haven't seen anybody else on under Wemby today, but maybe I'm wrong. 39.5. Minus 110 on BetMGM is a really good number compared to 38.5 for basically the same price on FanDuel. This is already going to be a lean for me. I mean, the man is averaging 30.9 PRA on the season, right? His median for PRA here, 34. So it's a little bit better. Yeah, he has a few outlier like this one against OKC, which is a tough matchup, but only 21 against the Rockets. This was a blowout too, so he probably didn't play that many minutes. He was only at 25 minutes in this last game. So if he plays 32, 33 tonight, I still think he's a good under against this Portland Trailblazers team. I'm definitely going under on Wemby right now, just where he's at. I think you're going to keep getting inflated numbers for Wemby. This has been bet down a little bit, but minus 110 on BetMGM is a good number. So I'm going to hit that. That's what's going on the bottom line right now. Wemby under 39.5 PRA is minus 110 on MGM. That is a good price, y'all. Gonna save that. Put it in here. Put it down on me. Should we look at, and then we'll look at CP3. I know I'm doing y'all dirty on the Bulls game, but like, God, fuck that game. Let me see real quick. Let's see. That was the dick joke I couldn't remember from yesterday. It was the dick pick. Yeah, it was a good dick pick. It was not. He sucked. He did not cash yesterday, Miguel. I hope you were joking. He sucked ass yesterday. Let's see. I know. It's kind of crazy, dude. It is crazy that Wemby isn't averaging 10 a game, but he's barely hit 10 that many times this season, right? That's crazy. Calling him Wendy. Damn. I don't know if that was even a typo from Jose originally, but that's pretty good. When he's not playing well, we go Wendy. I like that. I'm going to look at Kamara too. I did say I'm going to look at CP3. Then I'm going to look at Kamara, and we can look at the steals and blocks for him because I'm sure he's great defender. I've loved seeing him play since he was drafted by the Suns. Saw him at Summer League. He was a boss. Let's look at CP3. I mean, 11.5 points I don't like because he needs to hit the threes, and he's going crazy on the threes. What did he dime up yesterday? Nothing, right? Yeah, this was a bad game for this team. He only played 20 minutes because it was over by the third quarter. So take that into account. I don't think this one's over by the third quarter. I think it's much closer. As long as he gets the minutes. Let's put his minutes. He played 33, 30, 32. He was capped at about 29 for the first 4 games. And then they got him at 32, 33. This is a loss by 9, a win by 10, a win by 18. He still played 32 minutes against the, was that the Nets or that was the Timberwolves. And then they lost by 12 to OKC, still played 26 minutes. So yeah, the dimes, is this team giving up assist to point guards? Let me at least start there because obviously with CP3, we talk about the dimes as a little bit more reliable, I would say, even though the points have been masterful. He's shooting still above his pay grade. I want to make that clear. He's still shooting well above his pay grade. Overall for Portland versus PGs, 21st in points allowed and 18th or 15th rather in assists, as you can see down there. So we look at Paul in the season in 2024. I'm just looking at everything so I get it here. 15.6 potential assists though. He had a lot of potential assists in certain games where he didn't get the dimes, right? Like starting with the 17 and 8. Here we didn't have the potentials. 13 to only get 3, 15 to get 9, 22 to get 22 potential assists to get 10. Yeah, still good. That was Utah. My bad. Who cares about that? But 13 against Minnesota is really impressive. That was on 14. So they've been pretty, yeah. I mean, he's averaging what? How many assists is he averaging? Let me just get to the dime. Sorry. So he's averaging 8.25 dimes on 15.6 potentials. I can work with that. That's a reasonable average. He's at 8.5 in this one against a team that isn't that bad against a dime. So we'll just go back to the points and I'll shut up. Are the threes at 1.5 for juiced out of their mind? Yeah, that's not worth it. He's only been taking, let's see how many he's averaging on the dimes, or I'm sorry, on the threes. What's his volume here on the trays? 5.5 a game, making 2.4. Never hit 40% in a season, I don't believe, from deep. So that's not really what he does. 5.5 attempts to make 2.4. To make 2, it's not the worst, but it's a little bit worse than 40%. So pretty doable. But at that juice, I still don't want to have to bang on him even hitting 38% for that kind of juice on the threes. So it comes down to the points. But if you look at the games where he's gone over, let's do it this way. In the games he's gone over this season, how many has he hit? How many threes does he really need to hit? So 3-pointers that he's made here is the filter that I'm going to under advanced filters. And I'm saying how many times that he's hit 1 or fewer threes has he gone over his points? No times. What about 0 to 2 threes? 1 time. So he needs to hit 3 threes, right? He's only gone over once hitting 2 threes. This is just, I mean, look, over time, he might hit 2 threes tonight. I don't know. But he needs to hit 3 for this to be a much nicer hit rate. So in the 3 games he's hit 2 or fewer, only 1 of 3 did he go over. In the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games that he hit, 4 games that he hit 3 threes, he went over. So there's a really strong correlation between his threes and him going over because he's not hitting it. So honestly, this leads me to go, if I'm going to bet on Chris Paul, I probably just want to bet on 3 threes. to be honest with you. There's even been a time where he has hit 3 threes and didn't go over because that was all of his shots last game. So if you just take him, let me go to his alt lines on Outlier and look at his alt threes. If you want him to take 2 to make 3, you can get that at plus 188. Not too bad. That would be where I would go. I'd be a sprinkle on him to hit 3 threes even before I went for the points. They're so highly correlated. He doesn't really get to the free throw line that you might as well just take something that's just as likely to happen, that's super dependent on each other, right? And just take the better juice. If he doesn't hit 3 threes, he's probably not getting 12 points. If you take him for 12 points, you're only getting minus 108, whatever. You take him for 3 threes, which is the same thing as 12 points, essentially. That's what we're saying. 3 threes is the same as 12 points. But I'm going to take plus 188 over the shitty juice. You see what I'm saying? That's how I play that kind of stuff. So you know what? I'm at least putting in the bottom line Chris Paul to make 3 threes against this team. Let's look at how bad they are. But we're talking about the Blazers above the break where he's shooting all his threes. They're bad. So this is doable for sure. I will take that and maybe put like 0.3 units on it, something just a sprinkle, just to feel alive tonight with this shit that is on the NBA slate. And we'll be looking at football. Let me know if you guys have a football look too. I'm down to look at that for a little bit. I probably go for another like 15 or so. Let's get CP3 over 2.5 threes for, I don't love the plus 180. I kind of wish there was at least 2-1. I'm not gonna lie to you, but plus 188 is at least a look. And I believe that's Fanduel, but it doesn't matter because I haven't hit it yet. All right, let's try to look at a few more things. I did say I was going to look at Tumani. I'm going to clear this. We should look at Champagny. I think Champagny was a good look yesterday as well. I didn't hit it, but I believe he went over. We'll look at Tumani. We should at least look at that Jazz game too for a minute before we dip, right? All right, so Tumani. Looking for Tumani reasons to bet on this motherfucker. 13. This is Champagny, my bad. But I do like Champagny on the points. 11.5 against this squad. Who's still out? Who's been missing? That was relevant. Yeah, Sohan. That's right. So Sohan's still out. Vassell out is really the reason that Champagny is getting burned, to be honest with you. And he is shooting most of his shots from up top, a little bit in the corner. They're pretty bad in the corner he's shooting from for the most part too. So I don't mind the Champagny play here on the points. I think that's a decent look. Let me at least bring up Tumani. I think there was an ask for the blocks and steals too. We can take a look at it, but we want to know about turnovers and whatnot. If we look at Tumani on the points, 8.5. The other thing was Tumani got some burn over Denny Avdia. And who was the guy that we were waiting to see if they were out for him? Shaedon Sharpe. Is Shaedon Sharpe ruled in or out? Does anybody know that? That's going to be a big part of Tumani. He's starting at shooting guard, and he might not be getting that start. Yeah, so Shaedon Sharpe, he might still be on a minutes limit, but this is why I'm just going to step away from Tumani bets tonight, is because this is the dude he's been starting for. He's still going to start tonight, it looks like, for Shaedon Sharpe, who's available to make a season debut. So we don't know how many minutes he's going to get, but this is where I start to go like, okay, now I'm getting a little bit nervous. Maybe this even gets bet down now that Shaedon has been announced in. This was a minute ago. So let's see if Tumani goes down before we take any of his stuff now that Shaedon is in there to potentially eat into his usage and his minutes. All right, cool. Let's see if anybody else has. Oh, interesting. That could be a good look on the DFS apps. I like that idea of taking Paul attempts. Let's see real quick. Tumani. K George. Yeah, let's look at that game. Let's look at the Jazz game. But I wouldn't be. I don't know if I'd be fading Champagny. He's been getting the minutes in the run with Vassell out, and now even more so with Sohan. I do think they're going to keep him in. He's a little bit bigger than guys like Malachi Branham. He can do a few other things, play better defense than Malachi Branham. So he might be in there. Jacob, my guys, got K George. So let's get over to that game too. The freak is in. That's what's up. Appreciate you. Let me know about Shaedon. Free sauce. Blocks and steals is high for Wemby. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Ayton's just put up that baby hook, right? So Jose likes Zay tonight on the 100+ receiving yards. If you can get Mark Andrews 2-1 for a tutty, I think he's still a good look against the Cincinnati team that sucks against the tight end. 2-1 is probably a good dart throw or half a unit throw. Hell yeah. 90 yards for. Is he? He's not at 90. You're talking about an alt line, right? Recycled greens. I like that name too. Recycled greens. Let's see. Man. Nah, you didn't miss any Dick jokes because we don't have a Toronto game, man. But Dick definitely let us down last night. That's for goddamn sure. Yeah, alt line. Cool. Let me know what kind of juice you're getting for 90 plus on Zay there. I do think he's a good play. Deontay Johnson's probably still going to have what? Like maybe he gets a 50% snap share tonight. So I don't think Deontay Johnson's yet going to eat into the stuff that you want from Zay Flowers. But if you get Deontay Johnson anywhere under 30 and a half yards, since we're doing this, I mean, we're all in this together now. NFL, I'll look at Champagne in a sec. But if I want to see what Deontay Johnson's receiving prop is at, I'm confident it's closer to 30 than 20 at this point. No, it's gone down. Maybe there's been some news that he's still not yet integrated, but a look from a dude that jumps in the comments of my YouTube videos, Michael Haddad, he was saying that Deontay Johnson early, like first quarter, might be a good look. And I liked where he was at with that because, and there's no first quarter stuff up for him other than TDs. But if you can get first quarter, like over 1.5 receptions or half a reception is what it should be at, then that might be a look. If they're trying to get him integrated early, have scripted plays for him that were, they've got their playbook written for the first, 15, 20 plays, 10 plays if you're average coach, 15 to 20 if you're Andy Reid and you're a psychopath, or Kyle Shanahan. But for the most part, like the scripted plays are the ones that you want to run early, and those are the ones that you draw up for Deontay. And you've got Lamar kind of, locked onto him to get him involved. So I think that Deontay at 17.5, unless I'm missing something, is still a good look. Let me know. And Jacob likes him as a live bet, which I can understand. Some people were talking about that in the comments too of the video this morning. That makes sense to me. So, all right. I think Markkanen's in. Is he not, Buckhead? You can see that too. But let's go back to some NFL. I think you got to take this one. I'll give away because I gave it last night. Let's see if it's still around before I get back to basketball. Now that my ADD is fixated on football, I think he's good for under rushing yards. There's still 49.5. Yeah, they're down to 46.5 for minus 110. If you take under 48.5, that's probably Prize Picks if it's minus 119, right? Yeah. And then under 46.5 is plus EV, which is nice. But look, I mean, he's got a bum knee. He's gone under this number more than you might think this season, but also 3 of the last 4 games. If you look at his rushing attempts, 3 of the last 4 games, it's just gone down over the last 5, 12, 11, 9, 8, 3, right? 12 against Cincy to get them kind of back in that game because it was all hands on deck on offense. Washington, he was still rushing about 11 times. Tampa Bay has an incredible pass rush and Todd Bowles blitzes, so he had to run. 8 versus Cleveland with another good blitz and pass rush, and plus they were losing. And then the Broncos, they were killing them. There was no reason to run them. This is going to be a closer game, but he's got the bum knee. You've got Derrick Henry. When did he get hurt? In the last couple of seasons, he got hurt in any time between like week 10 and like week 12, right? So we're right in that sweet spot for Lamar to get hurt. I think you got to go under on the rushing yards for him. The attempts are kind of down too. If they're at like 9.5, I like the under. 8.5 because those got juiced. Yep, those got bet down as well. Open at 9. So yeah, I think under rushing stuff for Lamar is probably my favorite play tonight. I like an Andrews Tutty as well if you want that. But let's get back to the hoop for a minute. At least look at that Yaz game. Los Utah Yaz. And let me go back to Props Madness to start us off. Harrison Barnes. But I do think Champagny is pretty good to score tonight. Where's he shooting from? Yeah, up top. Like I was saying, I already mentioned all that. So just want to make sure that's clear. I like him. Haven't bet anybody yet. What's time's his first game? Is it 5? Good. Yaz Books. Fucking poop bowl. We got AJ Green props, y'all. Sound the alarm. We got AJ Green props, you derpy looking motherfucker. 3rd against the spot up though for the Jazz. I don't care what it says the Jazz are good at. If they're good at anything like they're not giving up spot ups. It's only because anybody can get whatever they want on the ISO. Let's pull up Giannis for a minute. Giannis on the ISO. Oh, they're 3rd against the ISO. So they're 30th in transition. Whatever. Pick and roll, man. 4th against the. How are they good against these play types? What? Give me a second here. We need to figure out what's going on here. Teams advanced. What's their defensive rating? It can't fucking possibly be good. They're the Utah Jazz. 23rd in D rating. Their offensive rating is pitiful. So that's it. They're the worst offense in the league. That's for damn sure. Their rebound percentage, I imagine, is poo-poo. Not that bad. Okay, Utah. I mean, I'm not going to give you more respect, but maybe I should give you a tiny bit. Is their pace still high? Yeah, 5th in pace. So they're going to try to push this thing. And the Bucks are at 8th. So they're going to push this thing. This is in Milwaukee. Let's see if the Jazz are still doing their thing here in terms of ton of points at home and none on the road. Even in a 7-game sample size. No, they're scoring more on the road right now in this small game sample size. But like last year, it was like games averaged 20 more points per game when they played in Utah versus when Utah was on the road. They were way better on offense. This year, they're just doo-doo everywhere, to be honest. So let's see what we do with that. Like Milwaukee is 2, but Giannis for what? For 31. Where is he at right now? So he's averaging 31 going against it's the blowout factor, but like, do we deserve to assume that the Bucks are going to blow anybody out at this point? I don't think so. Like, what have they done to show us that they can blow anybody out? Nada, Zippo. Let's take a look at some projections for them because I want to know if ETR is taking into account a potential blowout if they think that it'll be a blowout, and then they're taking the stuff accordingly. So they've got Dame and Giannis pretty much right at their props, but Giannis with a slight edge on the points. Let's see what his assists are at. 6.5 and 11.5 boards. So 6.5 dimes, 11.5 boards. So that's what they have him at as well. But the 32 points is a slight edge for him. Has he had any bad games where it's just like these are outliers? So maybe he would be scoring more points. Nah, 11 field goals, more free throws than field goals here. 23, 11 because he got to the free throw line 11 times. 26. 22, 27. I mean, it's win or go home time, right? What's Giannis in the first quarter? Let's look at that for a minute. Giannis apply. Also, I just want to see if did my first quarter Jason Tatum bet hit yesterday? I forgot. I mean, I didn't make it, but I was really wanted to take it. I think it was 9.5 points, and I know he's playing 12 minutes, averaging a lot of points in the first quarter. But I got myself interested, so I'm going to go find out, and you're going to do it with me. Did Jason Tatum get his, because this is also keeping track of like what these leans did when I have them. And I want to know if Tatum, I don't think so actually, because that was a poo ass first quarter, right? This whole game was all defense. If I go to first quarter points for Tatum, who probably played the whole quarter. Yeah. 12 minutes, but went for 5. That defense is really good. So yeah, he had 5, but that was against a much better defense. But I want to look at Giannis first quarter stuff. Let's see. 6.5. On the season, he's over in 4 of 6, averaging about 7.6 in that quarter. So he's not getting guaranteed first quarter stuff. Let's see if Dame is. Sometimes you can find a ton of value on this. Dame time. Woo. Did I just choose Giannis? Come on. Do better. Dame, PRA. Let's look at his first quarter points. Also 6.5. Averaging 8.7, averaging slightly more minutes, but not playing the whole first quarter, getting taken out at these random moments. Not sure what this one is about against Mo. I mean, they were getting waxed probably at the beginning of that game. That's what that was. He played 12 and 11 without Giannis. So with Giannis, he's looking at a lot more like 10, about 8 to 10 minutes per game. So that's fine. 6.5 points. How many times is he shooting? I can't really see that over here. I can see it on props.cash, but over in 7 of 10, these are considerations. One of them to be hot to come out to start, but with the amount of minutes, but not guaranteed like even 10 minutes from these dudes. So I don't feel as comfortable taking those, but let's see if there's anything else in here. Let me see if y'all are. Oh yeah, Keontae George is who I'm supposed to be looking at. That's my bad. We have a bottle of Keontae. Let's see where you at, Keontae. 15.5. We got Markkanen in. Let's keep that in mind. That was a Dumb and Dumber quote. That's what it was. And a bottle of Keontae. I should give that to SportsCenter. They should be using that in his highlight reel. Let's see. On the points, I think Jacob had the PR, right? We can look at everything, though. Let's see on the points. We're at 15.5. Man, I mean, this defense is terrible, too, for sure. He's shooting a good amount from above the break. He is getting to the rim. Mostly worried about transition. This is a team with no half-court offense. They have 102 offensive rating for a reason. So, but look at how bad this Bucks defense is against every play type. Like, you can also just kind of get what you want against them. Assuming the above-the-break defense is pitiful. Yep. Also, the corners is pitiful. The only place they're good on defense is where Brook Lopez is standing because they still play that drop D. So that does leave some shooters open. That's why they are 25th against spot up. That is their worst play type defensively speaking. So he doesn't do as much of the spot up, right? He is, what's his assist looking like? 5.5. That's a little bit sexier. And then the boards 3.5. Yeah. So yeah, I know. I know that you want that the sideburns back for Tatum. I agree. I definitely agree. Let's see, kind of 5. Yeah, I think 5 assists. Oh, nice. Appreciate the look here for anybody that's in Australia. So Daft, you still have access to this. If you want to get sorry, I shouldn't click off. If you want to get Wemby at 40.5 for the under, you can on Dabble. And I'm sure Daft has a code for Dabble or something. So you can throw that in there if you want, Daft. Let's see. Booty cheeks, big old booty for sure. Just ass, complete ass for this Bucks team. You're totally right, Jose. All right, let's try to find an edge in here. So AJ Green gets minutes now, I guess. What? Why? I guess the shooting. And Patty didn't miss a game, right? They just like, oh, you need to have at least one little white guy in here. 7 for 9 from deep for AJ. So Ladbrokes is giving us an AJ line. That's what it is. Okay, whatever. And then Ladbrokes is the only place giving us this line. This stuff's still trickling out on, like, they didn't even give us these props for this game. Until the books take us seriously. This just seriously, what are we supposed to do? Yeah, I don't know why Colin 6 would have an edge here other than, right, like these are right around his averages. I'll just look at his projections for 1 second, and I'm probably going to dip so I can get a couple things done for tonight. They got Keontae at 17.4. Do we say he's at 14.5 on some? Yeah, but that's only on the they're still waiting to give us the stuff now that everybody was like officially ruled in, right? So we need to wait on this stuff to get it. So I'm going to dip for now. I know this was a little bit less than most, but we only have 3 games. At least got some stuff in with you guys. I'm going to be putting out the video for tomorrow tonight. So since I finally have time, I'm going to really just get into the slate for tomorrow pretty shortly here. Give that video a like if you got anything out of it. Appreciate it. Here's the code from Daft if you want it on Dabble. Free $25 on the sign up for any of you who can access it. So go ahead and get that. If you do want to get every pick I'm making, 3 out of 4 bad nights now. So we got to pick it up, but I'm not going to go crazy tonight. I'm going to look for tomorrow to be the place to get about 7 plays in. But either way, appreciate the likes on the video. Definitely check the description of the video if you want all the links that we have in here as well, so that you make sure you don't miss a bet that I'm making, or if you want to get any of the tools we had, etc. Jump in there. So appreciate y'all as always. We'll be back tomorrow with another stream. So we make sure to get some NBA bets in with a big slate. Till I see y'all next. Happy betting.